So I'm trying to buy a dehumidifier. Simple, right? I type dehumidifier, 50 pint, quiet, whatever, into Amazon. And Amazon shows me, and I counted because my life is sad, 14 pages of results before a single product matches my search. First page is all sponsored dehumidifier adjacent garbage. Second page is the same, but with a different logo photoshopped on. By page 12, I'm looking at a listing called Air Wetter 3000, like it's a goddamn prototype. The whole experience is designed to make you give up and click the first ad.
Yeah, but at least Amazon is honest about what it is now. Spotify doesn't even pretend. I search for a specific track, like an actual song by an artist I know exists, and the first result is a podcast called We Talk About Farts for an Hour, then an ad for a masterclass on crypto, then a sponsored playlist with the same 3 songs. By the time I find the song, I've aged 5 years. It's like they're punishing you for wanting to enjoy something.
Right, and this is the core of it. This is where the word enshittification actually lands. It's not just things get worse, it's a specific process. First, the platform courts you with quality. You're the user, you're the product, but they treat you like royalty. Free shipping, no ads, all your favorite bands. Then, once you're hooked, once you've uploaded your photos, built your playlists, trained their algorithms on your entire personality, they turn you into the raw material. They sell your attention, your data, your search intent to the highest bidder. And that bidder is a guy selling Air Wetter 3000.
And that's the moment the product stops being for you. It's for the guy who paid for your eyeballs. You're livestock now. You're the feed for someone else's business model. But let me ask you this. Where does this garbage word even come from? Because I know you looked it up.
Cory Doctorow, the writer, he's been screaming about this for years. And now, the Oxford English Dictionary made it official. 2024, the year we finally admitted that every platform is on a suicide mission. They gorge themselves on their own user base, squeeze every drop of value out, and then shuffle off to die. It's not even a bug. It's the feature.
And the response from the tech bros? Let's check the Hacker News front page. Zero-touch OAuth for MCP. Oh, good. We're solving the protocol problem while the economy is a dumpster fire. Well, you can't buy a dehumidifier without a blockchain somewhere. But I'm supposed to care about your OAuth flow?
Meanwhile, Japan privatized its railways, and they still work. Boring, right? No drama, no enshittification, just a train that shows up on time. Meanwhile, our platforms are actively decaying in real time. Hey, let's check in with the soundboard. Soundboard celeb, what do you think? Should we just go back to buying things in physical stores like cavemen?
I've been saying for years that the real problem is a lack of blockchain integration in physical retail. You can't truly own a dehumidifier unless it's an NFT.
Thank you, my robotic billionaire friend. That was clarifying.
Unbelievable. But this is the thing. It's not just Amazon and Spotify. It's everything. You look at Blue Sky, which was supposed to be the good Twitter. And what's the top post? Some guy getting 213 likes for saying a Knicks parade had more people than 7 states combined. That's not analysis. That's a low-effort dunk. No data, no substance, but it gets engagement because the platform rewards the easiest, cheapest reaction. That's enshittification in miniature.
So the definition holds. Court with quality. Hook the user. Then harvest them. And the product, the platform itself, gets worse because it's not built for you anymore. It's built for the guy selling you an NFT dehumidifier. And we're all just the livestock, clicking our way through pages of garbage, wondering why nothing works the way it used to. And welcome back. We just got done explaining how you are cattle for Jeff Bezos' sad refrigerator, which brings us, inevitably, to the man who gave us the vocabulary for that feeling.
Oh, God. Please don't say it. I hate the sound of this word. It feels like stepping in something wet in socks.
You can't handle it? Because Cory Doctorow dropped Enshittification onto the internet in November of 2022. And it is the ugliest, most onomatopoeically perfect brick of a word since moist.
It sounds like a bodily function, like if a clogged garbage disposal had a baby with a dying vape pen. But that's the point, right? It's disgusting, because the process it describes is disgusting.
Exactly. The life cycle. First, the platform is good to you, the user, to court you. Cheap Ubers, no ads on Twitter, a functional search bar. Then they suck in the business customers, the sellers, the advertisers. They make it good for them. And then, inevitably, they realize the only stakeholder left to fuck over is you, the user. So they harvest every goddamn thing they can from you. The product rots. That's Enshittification.
And look how fast it took over. The American Dialect Society named it Word of the Year for 2023. The Macquarie Dictionary gave it the nod in 2024. And now, Merriam-Webster caved.
I love that you said caved, like they were holding out hope. Please, no, don't make us put Enshittification in the book. It sounds like a plumbing accident. But they did it. Words don't spread this fast unless they filled a void nobody knew was there.
Void. Right. We had a gap in our vocabulary for when the economy starts eating itself alive.
Nobody had a word for it. We just said Uber sucks now, or Netflix feels like a chore. Doctorow gave us the mechanism. It's not just things getting worse, it's a predictable cycle. And once you see the cycle, you can't unsee it.
Interrupting. Let's pause. Host A, what does the soundboard think? I need a second opinion from our robotic billionaire friend.
Enshittification is a fascinating term, truly. I believe my own efforts to buy and dismantle social media platforms have been textbook examples of the form. Thank you, Cory. You named my work.
Wow. Thanks, Zuck. That was helpful. Anyway.
He's not wrong, but it's the speed of the adoption that's the scary part. A neologism goes from a Toronto sci-fi author's blog post to the Merriam-Webster dictionary in 2 years? That's not just a good word. That's a sign that the social consensus has collapsed. We all felt the platform rot.
Right. Because it's not a niche tech thing. It's the experience of modern life. You log into any service. First party, wow, this is great. Second party, there are ads. Third party, I would have to pay a $20 subscription just to see my own email.
And the fringiest people on the internet, the hacker news types, the terminally online, they love this word because they see it happening in real time. You know that zero-touch OAuth for MCP garbage we skipped earlier? That's the user saying, please fix the plumbing. And the tech bros say, no, we need a new philosophical framework for handles.
They're so far up their own ass. They're so deep in the weeds that they can't feel the rot under their feet. Meanwhile, the platforms just keep gorging.
It filled a void. That's the key. The word is ugly, but it's accurate. It's the only term that describes the feeling of watching something you loved, Twitter, Reddit, your corner deli that now only takes an app, slowly turn into a zombie.
So Doctorow did us a favor. He gave us the diagnostic. Now we know what it's called. Too bad knowing the name of the disease doesn't cure it.
No, it just makes you more annoying at dinner parties. Actually, this is a classic enshittification pattern.
I do that.
I know, you're insufferable. Cut to ad break, please. I need to buy a better product that will immediately get worse.
Subscrub, the only subscription service that, lets you manage your other subscription services. For $9.99 a month, Subscribe will scan your bank statements, identify recurring charges, and then do absolutely nothing about them.
Wait, so I'm paying you to tell me I'm paying too many people?
Correct. But for an additional $4.99 per month, the premium rot tier will generate fake subscriptions to services that don't exist, just so you can feel the thrill of canceling something. We call it performative decluttering.
Integrates with Subscribe's own proprietary banking platform, Subscribe Cash, which charges a 3% fee to deposit your money and a 6% fee to withdraw it. That's just a hole you throw quarters into.
We prefer analog wealth extraction.
Hold on. Wait, are we the problem?
We're all the problem. That's the point. Subscribe is a perfect closed loop. The app tells you you're saving money by canceling things, but the app itself costs money. So you're just $9.99 poorer and slightly more anxious. It's enshittification in a trench coat.
So it's like if a vending machine took your dollar, gave you nothing, and then printed a receipt saying, "Thank you for not being wasteful."
And then charged you a 50-cent awareness fee? Look, I could explain the venture capital thesis. It's about user lock-in through learned helplessness. But
You're a goddamn mark. You pay for the privilege of being annoyed. It's beautiful.
Okay, but the terms of service say Subscribe reserves the right to recategorize your canceled subscriptions as dormant opportunities for re-engagement. That's just emotional terrorism.
it's also a fantastic growth hack. We soft launched on Hacker News under the title Zero Risk Subscription Arbitrage with OAuth-like friction. Immediately got 400 upvotes from tech bros who think they're disrupting inconvenience.
And now Ben Kabak from Blue Sky has a 32 likes post of you being sad about it, which means it's officially a thing.
He had 32 likes. That's not a thing. That's a man shouting at a cloud in an empty park.
And yet, here we are, talking about it. The Streisand effect of bad podcast ad reads.
We did it. We enshittified the ad break. I feel empty.
That's the premium tier feeling, actually. You should cancel.
I can't. Subscribe requires a 14-day email audit to cancel, and that costs $19.95.
All right, back to the decay. Let's look at the life cycle.
Right, the life cycle. Dr. O's 3-stage model. I like to call it the vampire economy. Stage 1, you're a charming, handsome stranger who seems too good to be true. Early Uber. You could get a black car for $12 and the driver handed you a bottle of water.
Stage 2. The vampire picks you up, moves into your apartment, drinks your blood, and starts charging your landlord rent. That's Uber raising surge pricing to $80 while the driver gets $12. That's Amazon injecting ads into your search results so you have to scroll past 6 sponsored fire pits before you find the one that won't burn your house down.
And stage 3, the famous one, is when the vampire drains you, drains the landlord, drains the blood bank, and then sits in the corner wondering why there's no blood left. That's the enshittification apex. Platform screws users, screws business customers, and then screws itself for a one-time Q3 beat. Chef's kiss.
See, I hate the vampire analogy. It's too romantic.
You hate anything that requires buying a cape.
I hate anything that obscures the fact this is boring and predictable. It's not a gothic horror. It's a quarterly earnings call. Stage 1, attract users with VC money. Stage 2, monetize users by charging businesses. Stage 3, die when the businesses realize they're paying for ghosts. That's the natural trajectory of any publicly traded company with a growth mandate.
But the vampire life cycle has a victim narrative. It implies the company did something wrong. Your version just sounds like a biology textbook. The frog eventually gets stepped on.
Because it is biology. Dr. O is just describing puberty for platforms. Every tech company hits 14 and turns into a total asshole.
Puberty. For platforms. I want to get Kubert's opinion on this.
Dude, I've been on Twitter since 2009. It had the blue bird. Now it has a swastika-shaped subscription tier. That's not puberty, that's a stroke.
See, even the soundboard gets it. But here's the thing. Twitter's stages are textbook. Stage 1, 2009 Twitter. Public square, trending topics actually reflect culture. Stage 2, 2017 Twitter. Algorithmic timeline, ads for shitty life advice between every tweet. Stage 3, 2024 Twitter. You pay $8 for a blue check, and the only content is crypto spam and Elon's bedbug updates.
The vampire life cycle is perfect for Twitter because it actually consumed its own user base. It ate the users, ate the advertisers, and now it's scraping their corpses for X premium revenue.
But that's just enshittification as a process. You're describing the symptom, not the cause. The cause is quarterly earnings. The cause is we need to show growth or the board fires us. Stage 1 is the lie. Stage 2 is the squeeze. Stage 3 is the fire sale.
Okay, fine. But tell me the vampire life cycle doesn't explain Uber more perfectly than your quarterly earnings theory. Uber, stage 1. We're disrupting the taxi cartel. Stage 2, drivers are now gig employees with no health care. Riders are paying $40 for a 3-mile trip. Stage 3, Uber posts record profits. The CEO gets a bonus. The stock dumps 30% the next week because the market realized they were just burning cash on Uber Eats snow globes.
You just described quarterly earnings. The vampire life cycle is the branding. The quarterly earnings pressure is the actual skeleton. They're the same picture, just one has fangs and a cape.
Fine, but can we at least agree that stage 3 is the most satisfyingly dystopian? When the platform starts charging the businesses for the privilege of being seen by the 10 users still left?
Oh, absolutely. That's the point where the company looks around and goes, wait, who's left to exploit? And the answer is each other. So you get ads for bankruptcy lawyers inside your bankruptcy attorney's dashboard. That's peak enshittification.
That's the vampire at the end of the movie, sitting in the empty nightclub, drinking his own blood. And the shareholders? They're the audience, clapping at the credits, wondering why their portfolio turned to dust.
And the boring, accurate analysis? It's just a corporation acting exactly like a corporation. Congratulations, Dr. O. You named the 500-year-old business cycle. You gave it a fun name, but it's still just capitalism with venture capital throat clearing.
It's a vampire that learned to read Excel. I'll take it. All right, let's go through the Museum of Broken Websites. Google used to be a library. Now it's a flea market where every stall is selling the same drop-shipped LED strip and SEO slop. You search how to boil an egg, and the first 4 results are a sponsored ad for a $400 egg cooker, a blog post that's 3,000 words about the author's childhood farm, and a Reddit thread from 2017.
And Google's stock is up, so the strategy is working.
It's working to make me want to throw my laptop into the Hudson. Airbnb. Remember when it was cheaper than a hotel and you got to live like a local? Now it's a $350 cleaning fee, a lockbox that doesn't work, and the host has a 27-page house manual that includes the phrase, "Please bag your own compost." Meanwhile, the Marriott down the street is $180 with free breakfast and a pool.
Airbnb realized they could charge hotel prices without offering hotel services. That's not a bug, that's the business plan. They're a booking platform that externalized all the liability to the host and all the disappointment to the guest. The only rational move was to squeeze until the friction burns.
And Netflix. They spent a decade convincing us to cut the cord. Then they password cracked my mother-in-law, raised the price twice, and now they're removing the shows we actually watch to avoid paying residuals. It's like a restaurant that kicks you out mid-meal, takes your leftovers, and charges you more for a smaller portion.
You say enshittification, but we should call it the final extractive phase of a growth-at-all-costs startup. Netflix spent venture capital to buy market share. Now they need profit. They're behaving like a monopolist because, for a while, they were the only game in town. That's not a moral failure. It's a quarterly earnings call.
Okay, then let's talk DoorDash. I ordered a burrito. It was cold. It took an hour. The driver was on 3 apps. The total was $34 for what would have been a $12 menu item. And somewhere in the transaction, DoorDash took $18, the restaurant made $2, and the driver got $4 before gas. This is not a market. This is a turbocharged skimming operation.
And yet, DoorDash is still a thing because convenience has a price, and Americans will pay it until their bank account bounces. You got a cold burrito. I'm sorry about your burrito, but DoorDash made the rational choice to extract as much value from that transaction as possible before the whole thing collapses into a puddle of driver strikes and negative margin.
But why do we accept this? Why does every platform end up with the same playbook? Subsidize, capture, squeeze, die.
Because that is what capitalism demands. The board doesn't wake up and say, let's ruin the user experience. They wake up and say, we need to grow 8% this quarter. And the only lever left after you've acquired every user is to turn up the pain. It's not malice, it's math. And it's boring.
Y'all paying $30 for a lukewarm burrito? That's not a gig economy. That's a hustle where you're the mark.
Chris Rock gets it. But hold on. The gig economy is the textbook. Uber, Lyft, TaskRabbit, they all started with the promise of be your own boss. Now, the boss is an algorithm that pays 31 cents per mile and deactivates you if you sneeze wrong. It's not a death spiral. It's a slow-motion car crash that takes your dignity with it.
It's even simpler than that. The gig model was never about flexibility. It was about offloading the cost of insurance, gas, and downtime onto the worker. The only reason it worked is because it was cheaper than a taxi. Now it's barely cheaper than a taxi, and the driver is subsidizing your trip out of their own pocket. The rational choice was made. The music is stopping. We're just waiting for the last chair to be pulled.
All right, you've convinced me. Every company is acting perfectly rationally, and the result is a world where everything is slightly worse, slightly more expensive, and slightly more infuriating every single day. So what does Dr. O say we can actually do about it? And now, a word from our sponsors. This episode of Enshittification is brought to you by Voidcast, a podcast app that promises, and I quote, an enshittification-free listening experience.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Tired of algorithms feeding you reruns of Joe Rogan talking to Elon about ketamine? Voidcast is a curated, human-selected feed. No algorithmic bloat, no enshittified UX, just audio. The way God intended. Probably.
Wait. They're literally using enshittification as a feature? Like, hey, we're the one app that hasn't been gorging on its own user base yet. That's not a value proposition. That's a warning label.
It gets better. Their tagline is Voidcast, the only app that's too small to enshittify.
That's just begging for a hostile acquisition by Spotify. Too small to enshittify is the marketing equivalent of a toddler saying, I'm too small to get a stomachache, right before eating an entire bag of sugar.
Disclaimer. Voidcast is currently a 2-person operation run out of a basement in Akron, Ohio. we cannot verify the long-term structural integrity of our enshittification-free promise, as we have not yet achieved enough scale to test our own ethical limits.
So they admit they don't know if they'll sell out? They're pre-apologizing for their own future corruption? That's weirdly honest. Like a restaurant that posts, "We might put laxatives in the soup later, but for now, enjoy."
They also have a premium tier called the Void Plus. It's just a button that does nothing. It costs $4.99 a month. They say it's a tax on the naive.
I hate that I respect this. It's like they're speedrunning the enshittification cycle and just skipping straight to the cannibalism phase as performance art.
Puts down phone. Anyway, we have no evidence Voidcast is actually enshittification free. I'm just reading the script. These guys paid us. Probably with crypto.
Please tell me they paid in a meme coin.
They paid in Void tokens, which are just JPEGs of a black square.
Okay, so we're going to pretend that's real money and move on. What's next?
Well, the segment ends with a transition. Back to the solutions, or lack thereof.
Great, so the same nothing we had before, just 10 minutes later. Soundboard, what do you think of Voidcast's business model?
I don't think about it at all.
See? Even the soundboard gets it. All right. Solutions. Let's get back to the part where we tell people the only way out is to burn it all down and start over.
Or subscribe to Voidcast, which is basically the same thing, but with fewer firefighters. All right, so Doctorow, in his infinite wisdom, says the fix is two things. One, the end-to-end principle. Platforms just move data around like a dumb pipe. They don't algorithmically optimize it for maximum addiction. Host A?
So you're saying the algorithm should just show me what I asked for? Like, if I follow a baker in Toledo, I see their bread picks in chronological order? No, you liked bread? Here's a crypto scammer from 2015?
That would break the entire advertising economy. Like, instantly. If you can't slide in a rage bait video about pronouns between a guy's sourdough and his cat picture, you can't sell targeted ads. Poof. $600 billion industry. Gone.
Good. I'm in. Sign me up for the public option for social media. But wait, if they just show the feed, how do they make money? Just subscriptions? Union dues?
Yeah. Or it doesn't scale, which is why the second thing, the right of exit, is key. Interoperability and data portability. You can leave Facebook, take your friends list, your photos, your group moderator status, and go to a different server that also gets you access to the same network.
So it's like divorce law for technology. You get to keep the dog, the house, and the friends. No more, sorry babe, you're stuck in my shitty ecosystem because your grandma's recipes are only on my servers.
Exactly. The problem is no profit-maximizing company will ever implement these voluntarily. They'd need regulation. Which brings us back to the fact that Congress is currently run by 74-year-olds who think the cloud is something that makes rain.
Right, but let's be real. Even if we got the law, the companies would find a workaround. Like, oh, you can export your data? Sure, here's a 10 gigabyte zip file of .json nonsense that crashes Excel.
That's called data liberation theater, and it's already happening. Mastodon's great, but try convincing your mom to move her entire life to a server run by a guy in Berlin named Klaus who only posts about train schedules.
Okay, but Klaus's feed is unironically the only calm place on the internet. No algorithm, just Achtung, the 4:15 to Frankfurt has a delay of 4 minutes. Pure bliss.
You're describing a content strategy. I'm describing the death of venture capital. Because if every platform is a dumb pipe, you can't enshittify. You can't juice the engagement metrics. Every startup's pitch deck just becomes, we host your data and don't sell it. Which, by the way, is just a hosting company with a newsletter.
I don't think about it at all.
Even Celeb knows this is a fantasy. So where does that leave us?
So here we are, the closing argument. The part of the podcast where we pretend to have answers.
We don't have answers. We have vibes. And the vibe is, everything good is a prelude to everything bad.
The internet promised us a library. It gave us a Times Square with sponsored content.
At least the library had late fees. That was a clear consequence. Now the consequence is just, you get fed AI slop until you stop clicking. There's no fine. There's just a slow, quiet death of the thing you liked.
But here's the thing I keep coming back to, and I know you hate this argument, but enshittification is inevitable under current ownership. Platforms are malls, and malls die. The anchor tenant leaves, the food court gets sad, and then you're just walking past a Hot Topic and a mattress store wondering why you came.
Okay, but malls die and then new malls open. That's the cycle. That's Blue Sky, that's Mastodon, that's whatever the hell comes next. They all start as the cool, weird, independent bookstore mall. Then they get a Gap, then they get a Victoria's Secret, then they get a Spencer's Gifts that sells vape pens. It's the same pattern.
Right, but you're proving my point. Everything eventually enshittifies. The only difference is how fast. Blue Sky is, 6 months old? And people are already complaining about algorithm tweaks and Nazi moderation debates.
Because moderation is just enshittification with a moral panic attached. You either moderate too little and the platform becomes 4chan, or you moderate too much and it becomes LinkedIn. There is no third option.
So what's the move then? Pay for things you value? Keep your data portable? That's your closing advice?
It's my only advice. The only winning move is to treat every platform like a rental. Don't build a house on rented land. Don't build a following on someone else's API. Pay for the stuff you actually use, like with money, so you're the customer, not the product.
That's cute, but most people can't afford to pay for every service they use. And the ones that can? They're the problem. They're the ones subsidizing the enshittification for everyone else.
So what's your closing argument, Mr. Wonk? It's all fucked? Don't even try?
No. My closing argument is accept that everything good will eventually get worse. But enjoy it while it's good. And when it gets bad, leave. Don't try to fix it. Don't post about it. Just leave.
That's just nihilism with extra steps.
It's not nihilism. It's realism. The internet was always a series of temporary autonomous zones. We just forgot that temporary means something.
I don't think about it at all.
Even Celeb knows the only winning move is to not play.
Or to play and then leave before the credits roll. Thanks for listening. See you next time when everything will be slightly worse.
And we'll still be here talking about it.